All right, let's get right into it. It feels like everyone is in this massive race to adopt AI. But here's the big question. How do we actually know if we're making real progress or if it's all just, hype? Today, we're going to unpack a new framework that helps make sense of this crazy new world of AI in business.
I mean, you see it everywhere, right? Turn on the news, scroll through your feed, read any industry report, and it's the same story. AI adoption is through the roof. It feels like every single company on the planet is launching some new AI initiative and claiming they've got it all figured out.
And yet, if you're actually working inside one of these companies, you might be looking around and thinking, wait a minute, really? If literally everyone is using AI, why does the actual impact on the business, the real tangible transformation, why does it so often feel, well, kind of underwhelming?
Well, there's a name for that feeling. It's called the adoption mirage. It's this huge gap between what companies say they're doing with AI and the genuine embedded value they're getting. And what it tells us is that our old ways of measuring tech adoption, they just don't work for AI. We're trying to navigate this brand new world with completely outdated maps. This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures one of the biggest, most fundamental problems companies are facing. You can have mountains of data, but if that data isn't structured in a way an AI can actually use, you're not even at the starting line. It's an enormous gap. So if the old maps are wrong, what's the right one? Well, that's what we're here to talk about. Let's dig into the solution, a framework called the AI Maturity Map. So what is an AI Maturity Map? Well, it's not about just counting how many people have a license for some AI tool. It's a much deeper framework. It's designed to assess an organization's true AI readiness by looking across the entire business, seeing if you have the foundations in place to get real, lasting value from AI. And this map is built on 6 key dimensions. Think of these as the coordinates you'd use to plot your company's actual position. We've got deployment depth, systems integration, data, outcomes, people, and finally, governance. Let's go through each one and see what they actually look like in the real world. All right, let's start exploring this new terrain. We're going to break down each of these 6 dimensions, and for each one, we'll look at the difference between being behind and being ahead on this journey to true AI maturity. First up is deployment depth. So on one end of the spectrum, you have what we call assisted usage. This is your basic chatbot, AI helping you draft an email. It's a start, for sure, but the real goal, where the leaders are, is in agentic systems. We're talking about fully autonomous workflows where AI is a core engine for how complex work actually gets done. And that brings us to systems integration. This one's pretty easy to picture. Being behind here is what most companies look like right now. Everyone has an AI tool open in a separate browser tab, totally disconnected from the business. Being ahead means having those AI agents running directly inside your core systems, like your CRM, where they have all the context they need to take truly meaningful action. And of course, that leads right to data. The behind column here is probably painfully familiar to a lot of you. It's people manually copying and pasting info or dragging and dropping PDFs into a chat window. A mature organization, on the other hand, has AI-ready data. All of that institutional knowledge is structured, it's accessible, and it's basically served up on a silver platter for the AI to learn from. Okay, what about outcomes? It is so easy to get stuck in what you might call pilotitis, right? Just running endless experiments with no clear way to measure success. The goal is to get to a place where you have a track record of demonstrable ROI, where you can literally point to business outcomes and say with confidence, AI did that. Now, let's talk about the human element, because it's absolutely crucial. In the people dimension, a company that's behind is facing major skill gaps and, honestly, a lot of resistance. But a leader, they're proactively upskilling their entire workforce, building genuine excitement, and treating their people like the most important part of their AI strategy, which they are. And finally, we've got governance. This is all about playing safely and effectively. Being behind here is like the Wild West. No clear rules, no guidelines, just chaos. An organization that's ahead has a clear, centralized framework so that everyone knows the rules of the road and can innovate with confidence. Okay, so that's the map. That's the ideal. Now for the tough part. Where do most companies actually land on that map today? Let's take a look at the data for a quick reality check. So reality check number 1, that adoption mirage we talked about, it's not just a feeling, it's a fact. Just look at this statistic for sales teams. A massive 88% say they use AI. But when you dig just a little bit deeper, only 24%, less than a quarter, actually have it embedded in their core workflows. That is the mirage, right there in black and white. And this is fascinating. This shows where the investment is going. Companies are just pouring money into technology. A full 93% of AI spending goes to infrastructure. But what about the people who actually have to use it? Only 7%. Just 7% goes to upskilling and helping people adapt. It's like buying a supercar but forgetting to invest in driving lessons. No wonder progress stalls. This is the biggest bottleneck by a mile.
And this brings us to a really crucial point. We've talked about these 6 dimensions, but they are not all created equal. Data isn't just one pillar among the 6. Think of it as the floor. It's the foundational constraint that literally sets the ceiling for how high you can possibly go on all the other dimensions.
And here's what that data problem looks like in the real world. I mean, just look at these scores. Across major business functions like sales, HR, operations, finance, the data readiness scores are shockingly low. 8 out of 10 key functions are rated as significantly behind. If you don't have that data foundation, making real progress is, well, it's pretty much impossible.
So, when you pull it all together and look at the big picture, what do you see? The hard reality is that a full 70% of business functions are lagging behind where they need to be on this AI maturity journey. Only a small 30% are considered on track. There's a lot of work to do. Now, that might sound a little discouraging, but it really shouldn't be. Think of it as a necessary reality check. It's about knowing where you truly are right now so you can actually chart a realistic path to get where you want to go.
So what are the big things to take away from all this? First, true AI maturity isn't about buying the shiniest new tool. It's about building deeply integrated capabilities. Second, the biggest gaps, which also means the biggest opportunities, are in people and data. And finally, you can and should use this map as a diagnostic tool. Use it to find your own company's gaps and then make smarter, more strategic investments.
And that really brings us to the final, and I think the most important, question of all. After seeing this framework, after looking at the data, take a second and really think about it. Where does your organization truly sit on this map? Answering that question honestly, that's the real first step to navigating out of the mirage and onto solid ground.